My long-distance situationship disappeared on me again after saying, "I'm being weird because things are weird for me right now." I'm left wondering if I played a role or if the past haunts her. Now I'm struggling with my feelings and seeking answers should I reach out one more time. Apologies in advance for the length. I am not certain exactly what to label our relationship. I suppose it is somewhat of a long-distance situationship. We are more than just friends but less than an official boyfriend and girlfriend. We have been communicating for 8 months now. I will refer to her as SS as a transgender female. And I only mention this because I am not transgender, and I understand that there are experiences that transgender individuals go through that may be challenging for me to comprehend or relate to. Perhaps some transgender individuals reading this can offer some insights. S and I have actually known each other for over 5 years. She used to live in my city and we met online. Our relationship was primarily sexual in nature back then. We were intimate twice, despite my desire for more. It remains unclear whether she also wanted more at that point. I have always felt deep down that she did, but she was not ready to acknowledge it. She claims she was unaware of my feelings for her at that time and thought it was solely about sex, since that is all most men desired from her. To condense a lengthy backstory, S has a history of ghosting me for days, weeks, or even months at a stretch. Each time we discussed the possibility of going on an actual date, she would ghost me. She did acknowledge back then that she became easily overwhelmed and mentioned that she does not like to address issues when that occurs. She also confessed to feeling insecure about her appearance, even though I have tried my best to reassure her that I find her beautiful. We lost contact for a year after the onset of COVID. The next time we spoke, she revealed that she had a partner, gender nonconforming male, who had been residing in another state but was relocating to live with her. The relationship status at the time I was intimate with S is unclear. They may have had an open relationship, as S inquired whether I would be interested in a threesome, but also instructed me not to inform her partner that we had been intimate before. I suspect that this partner contributed to her reluctance to advance our relationship beyond a physical connection. We exchanged texts sporadically for a couple of months, but it never developed further, and I decided to move on now that I was aware she was in a relationship. 3 years later, in July 2024, I felt extremely lonely one day and decided to reach out to S. She felt like the one who got away, and I still believed deep down that she had some feelings for me. I sent her a message, and to my surprise, not only did she respond, but she expressed her excitement at hearing from me. It turned out she had broken up with her partner a few months earlier, in March 2024. I do not know the details, but she describes it as a bad breakup, and I am aware it is something she continued to struggle with for months after we began talking again. S behaved very differently this time. She was responsive, engaging, and interested in getting to know each other better on a personal level. She sent me good morning and good night texts, and we communicated frequently every single day. It was everything I had always wanted. The only issue is that she has moved back home 3 hours away. We both agree that we are not prepared for something serious right now, so we will continue talking and see where things lead in the future. About 3 months in, we had another discussion about this. We both wish we could have more, but it would be challenging for either of us to move at this moment. We do not want to lose each other, so once again, we agreed to maintain what we have. We had another discussion like this around New Year's Eve that concluded similarly, with her stating that although she wanted more, she did not think she could handle it at that time and was comfortable keeping things the way they were. Around mid-January, I began to notice a shift. Texts became infrequent, sometimes only once a day, and she seemed distant. I realized that the political changes in America were impacting her, and she mentioned that things on her college campus felt tense, leaving her worried and depressed. I did my best to reassure her and let her know I was there for her. During the first few days of February, she did not respond to my texts at all. This was the first time in 6 months that we did not communicate. After 3 days, I texted her again to check if she was okay. She finally replied, apologized, and mentioned that her mind was in a strange place and that she had been losing track of things. Things felt a bit more normal over the following 2 weeks, but then she vanished for a few days again. When I inquired whether she was okay, she finally responded, stating that she had been very ill. The following day, she texted me to say she was feeling somewhat better and apologized for her recent lack of responsiveness. I told her it was fine, but what I said afterward was a mistake. I was feeling insecure about our relationship and concerned that her interest in me was waning. I told her that I still felt as strongly about her as I always had and hoped she felt the same. There was no response. I waited 24 hours and texted her again, stating that if she did not still feel that way, I would like to know. No response. My anxiety escalated, and after a couple of hours, I texted her again, pleading for her to say something. That was a huge and embarrassing mistake, I know. Eventually, she replied, but only to express that this was not a good time for her to talk. I apologized and conveyed my understanding. A few days later, I texted her again to apologize. After a week, she finally reached out. She informed me that she had been going through a difficult time because her godfather had passed away recently. However, she felt she gained some closure after attending the funeral, and her mind was clearer. She apologized again for her lack of responsiveness and mentioned that she had simply needed some space. She recognized that she should have just communicated that to me and felt foolish for not doing so. She explained that when things become overwhelming, she shuts down, but she would strive to handle it better in the future because she felt so bad about missing me and had been thinking about me frequently. She asked me to forgive her if she had hurt my feelings, as she genuinely cared for me and was distressed at the thought of harming me. Naturally, I gladly accepted her apology and expressed how much I missed her, while also conveying my sympathy regarding her loss. I told her that it was never an issue for her to take space, but I wished she would communicate that to me instead of simply disappearing. I expressed my hope that she would feel more comfortable confiding in me when something is wrong in the future, as I care about her and want to support her. I also shared my concerns about potentially having messed things up, and she reassured me that she did not believe I could ruin anything. The following 2 weeks were excellent. S had returned to her former self, and she told me she felt really happy because she had missed talking to me. Then in mid-March, I went on vacation. We continued to communicate fairly regularly, but S mentioned feeling stressed and depressed about her college finals during this period. We had been trying to find a time to video call each other, and I asked her several times while I was on my trip about calling. She consistently turned me down, stating that she was tired or that it was too late. Since I had been asking relatively late in the evening, I understood. On the last day of my trip around noon, she informed me that her shift at work had been canceled. She was at home and did not have any plans. Her finals were also completed, except for one last test in 3 days. I thought this would be an ideal time to call, but she once again shut me down, saying it was not the right time. I felt hurt. I had genuinely wanted to see her, and I was eager to share all the things I had been doing on my trip. I replied, "Okay, sorry, I won't ask again." She stated that she did not mind me asking but was simply not able to do so at that moment. The last thing she said to me was, "I'm being weird because things are confusing for me right now. I'm sorry." I asked for clarification about what that meant, but she has not replied since. I texted her that night to express my regret for whatever she was experiencing and to let her know that I wished she would share what was wrong instead of shutting down. We had just discussed this a couple of weeks earlier. I texted her over the next few days to inform her that I was flying home, to wish her good luck on her last final, and again the day after the final, expressing my hope that it had gone well. I waited 5 more days before texting her again, this time requesting some form of communication because I was feeling quite confused about what was happening. A couple of days later, I texted her a meme about missing her and asked her to respond. I waited another day and then sent her another message, expressing that I just wanted her to be okay, even if that meant taking some time away from me. I told her that the sudden drop-off in communication was difficult for me to handle because she had become such an integral part of my daily life. I expressed that I cared about her, thought she was amazing, and did not want to lose her. I waited another 5 days and texted her yesterday on April 1st to say that I hoped the new month would bring some closure regarding whatever she was dealing with in March and offer her a fresh start. I told her I still missed her and thought about her, and that I would be here when she was ready to talk. So that is the current state of affairs. I have been extremely depressed since losing her, and it is affecting my work and friendships. I require some external perspective and guidance on what to do next. I have considered texting her again to apologize for expressing my feelings when she declined my call, but I am concerned that I have already texted her too many times and that this would only exacerbate the situation. It is challenging to restrain myself from texting her when I miss her so deeply. I do not know how long I should continue waiting. Here are a few additional details that might be relevant. March, when she ceased communicating with me, is the same month that she broke up with her partner. Could her 1-year anniversary of that breakup be affecting her? Since we have been communicating, we attempted to arrange a date to meet in person once. We both admitted to feeling nervous. She canceled on the day of, citing concerns about the weather, but I have reason to believe the weather was not as severe as she suggested. We agreed to try again after winter, but we have not discussed it much since. I am aware that she struggles with self-image and self-esteem issues. I do not have the exact phrasing saved because the messages were on Snapchat, but she once expressed something about herself similar to, "I am a huge piece of trash." I found this quite surprising, as she had never spoken about herself that way before. She stated, "Sorry, that is just how I talk about myself and the thoughts that run through my mind. This is what I mean when I say I am frightened you will discover how much I suck." I suspect that perhaps her ex may have contributed to this negative self-perception, but that is merely a guess. Story 2. I'm 25 and my boyfriend, 24, is sweet but clingy. I feel exhausted carrying our relationship, managing everything from trips to tough conversations. "You never let me speak," he claims, yet he barely engages. Am I being unreasonable, or is this incompatibility too big to fix? My 25-year-old female boyfriend, 24-year-old male, and I have been together for 3 years. Recently, however, I have been feeling quite worn out in our relationship and uncertain about the direction it is headed. When we first met, I was not immediately drawn to him, but he was very respectful and gentlemanly. I am an outgoing person who enjoys conversations and humor, while he has always been exceedingly quiet. Even on our first date, I had to dominate the conversation because he scarcely spoke, which felt awkward. Over time, there has been some improvement, but I still feel that I must do most of the talking in social situations. He hardly interacts with my friends, and sometimes he remains silent for hours. Yet he will then tell me, "You never let me speak," or claim that he is simply tired. Initially, I felt that I had finally found someone I could completely trust. He is a genuinely trustworthy person who genuinely cares about my feelings, which meant a great deal to me. He was so sweet, constantly wanting to cuddle and frequently telling me, "I love you." I used to think, how could I ever live without this person? I wanted to marry him, have 5 children with him, and buy a house together, everything. However, now I am unsure where those feelings have gone. In the early days, I also felt that he was moving far too quickly. He gave me a bracelet with a sentimental word on it when we were not even officially together yet, expressed his love quite early on, and expected public displays of affection that I was not comfortable with. I do not appreciate public displays of affection because I feel it diminishes my personality when I am around friends or other individuals. I want to be myself, not just his girlfriend. However, when I established that boundary, he became upset and blamed me for being emotionally distant. Now, 3 years later, I still feel like I have to take charge of most things. If we go on holiday, I plan 95% of it. If there is an administrative task, job application, or life responsibility to organize, I handle it. When I inquire why he does not take the initiative, he responds, "Well, you always beat me to it." But that only makes me feel more exhausted. It feels as though I must manage everything for both of us. When he does take action, I usually need to review it to ensure it is done correctly. We have encountered issues because of this when he has sent emails or made requests that were rejected until I corrected them. I am quite an independent person. I have been single for most of my life and I love traveling alone or with my family. Even before meeting him, I would take trips with my family and I still desire that personal time with them. However, when I told him that I wanted to go on a trip solely with my family, he became quite upset as if I were rejecting him. Even though we have gone on multiple holidays together and I spend significantly more time with him than my family, he made it seem as though I was intentionally excluding him. It is frustrating because I still plan numerous trips with him, yet when I try to do something independently, he makes me feel guilty for it. He is also very clingy. I lead a busy life with work, studies, and personal obligations, and sometimes I just need space. When I become overwhelmed, I prefer to shut down for a few days and recharge, but he finds it difficult to grasp that. If I say I am simply tired, he assumes I am upset with him or that I am trying to end our relationship. However, he is often too exhausted to engage in conversations or take the initiative, and I do not get upset about that. So why is it different for me? Another concern is his lack of confidence. He does not speak up for himself in stores, during arguments, or in restaurants. He does not express his needs, such as when he is hungry or thirsty, and if something goes awry, I must be the one to complain or take care of it. I have attempted to encourage him to be more assertive, but I feel as though I am continually coaching him. There is also an issue with intimacy. At times, I am simply too tired or not in the mood, and he will become upset to the point of tears. Consequently, I often give in just to make him feel better, which has significantly diminished my desire for physical affection. Recently, I wore a slightly revealing top, and he told me it was inappropriate because other people see more of my body than he does. That comment genuinely bothered me, and now I feel even less inclined to touch him. I believe we are both intelligent individuals, but we do not share the same interests, which makes it challenging to connect on certain topics. I enjoy discussing politics, celebrities, books, music, and films, but he does not really know or care about any of those subjects. It is not a matter of intelligence, rather it feels isolating because I cannot engage in those conversations with him. I understand that one is not supposed to discuss everything with a partner and should have friends for that, but it would be nice to feel that I could share those interests with him as well. Sometimes, I feel alone in this, as if I cannot discuss topics that are important to me because he does not understand the references. I recognize that I am not perfect. I can be emotionally distant at times. However, that is simply who I am and I endeavor to change as well, but I cannot alter my essence. I do not know if we are fundamentally incompatible or if this is something that can be addressed. I feel as if I contribute significantly to this relationship emotionally, mentally, and practically, and I do not receive the same level of support in return. He is a good person, and I doubt I would find someone as good as him if we were to part ways, but I feel drained. I am unsure if I am asking for too much or if I have simply reached my limit. Has anyone else experienced a similar relationship? How did you manage it? Am I being unreasonable? Summary, I have been with my boyfriend for 3 years, yet I feel exhausted and as though I am carrying the relationship. He is kind but clingy, passive, and struggles with rejection. I cherish my independence and he resents my need for space. I am uncertain if we are simply incompatible or if this can be resolved.